Good morning, everyone. I wanted to make another video today regarding retirement. Sorry, it's early in the morning, and usually my throat is a little weird in the morning because of stuff floating around, I guess, in the atmosphere. I don't know. Anyway, this is about retirement. And I was watching a video of a creator that talks about layoffs. And although I didn't get laid off, I like to watch his videos because he gets some really good information out there. Plus, I love to read the comments. The comments is usually where most of the information comes from that means something to me. And one thing that I've noticed is that people talk about burnout and what leads to burnout. And if you're not in one of those kind of jobs, you don't understand it. But what I would like to express to everyone is that when you're in a job and you feel like they're pressuring you to do more and more with no clear reason why, except they need better numbers, better metrics, they call it. Being a team player when someone quits and they can't replace them, then you will be facing burnout. And if you don't meet the metrics or you do some minor little thing, you probably won't get a good raise. Now, years ago, most people did a good job because they had a sense of pride and they wanted to get a raise, obviously. But what has happened over the years is that companies have decided to have these different levels of measurement, and they base it on something they picked out of the sky, apparently, because the last job that I had, when I had my review, I had they went on and on and on about how reliable I was, and I was always on time. I never turned down an assignment. I excelled at my job. And then when it came time to actually give the rating, which is a 1 to 5, I got a 3. And I stopped him during this interview, or whatever you want to call it, review. And I said, look, you just told me that I was always on time. I was usually early, stayed late. I did everything I was asked. And yet for and this was only for my attendance, that I get a 3. And the response was, I don't know, it didn't ring true to me. It said, she said, oh, well, no one in the company gets a 5 for attendance, unless you were to work every single Saturday, and far beyond, I don't know. She just kind of trailed it off there and wanted to go on to the next topic, which at that point I realized that point system was bogus. And in order to get a 5, you'd probably have to be a supercomputer robot or something. I don't know. No, or probably somebody's favorite, I guess. Anyway, after that, I talked to many people that I worked with, and pretty much everybody got 3s. So it was a company-wide trick. And apparently, it's not just the company that I was working for. It is a corporate trick throughout industries all over the United States. Now, in other countries, I can't speak to, but the people that I see in the comments are all mostly United States, and they all say the same thing. So, to anyone watching that may be close to retirement, or in a position where you can change jobs or quit or whatever, don't hesitate, because they don't care. And that little carrot that they dangle, saying, "Oh, we're going to be giving bigger raises this year because of the cost of living." Don't believe it. And or the other one in where I used to work. If you learn this next skill, you'll be compensated. But they don't tell you that the compensation is more work, because that's usually what it is. You get a new title, which involves more work. You may get a small raise, but the thing is, when the annual raises come around, or the cost of living raises come around, if they even do cost of living raises, which most don't, they'll tell you that you already got your raise. They did that to me back in 2013, I believe it was, because they wanted me to learn CT and get registered for CT where I worked. They said, "Oh, you'll get a big raise for this. This will be big," and so I did it, and I got a 3% raise at that time, which, I mean, it wasn't anything any more than I would have gotten anyway, because it was 2 months before the annual raises happened. And when the annual raises time came around, they said, "We already gave you your raise." So at that point, I should have left, but I didn't, because I was raised in an environment where you worked for a company and you retired from the company. And at that time, it wasn't as bad as it became later. And that's one thing that I do regret, is not leaving that company at that time. But as I've found out since I did quit in 2021, and I've worked several jobs since then, that almost all companies are pretty much the same nowadays. They've all taken up the same kind of mentality and attitude towards their workers. You know, they depend on the workers to put out the product or the service, yet they don't want to compensate them, and they want to use as few as possible so that they can have higher profits and pay their CEOs millions in bonuses, and shareholders. And don't even get me started about shareholder stuff. That's why I took everything I had out of my 401k and paid my house off, because I wasn't going to support that BS anymore. But anyway, that was my thoughts on retirement. And every day that I'm not working, I feel better about it. And and the other thing, that my trip, I forgot to mention, I think in my last video, that my trip that I took, I had a goal to not spend more than $250 on the whole trip, because I'm living on a budget, you know. And so I spent $217. Most of it was gas, driving gas to Georgia, then to Milton, then back here, along with food and toiletries. So I only spent $217, which in reality is a lot to spend in a week and a half, but it was probably a good figure, because in that week and a half I didn't spend money here on any of that stuff. So I guess it evens out. Anyway, my budget is good. Now to work on my budget for next month, since I won't have any income coming in at all unless I get some kind of gig work, which I'm not sure I will. And I'm not really going to worry about it if I don't. So that's it for me today. Thanks for listening.